that international stars like INXS or Michael Jackson or even Madonna are certainly famous here in Hong Kong, there's a very powerful local music scene, and it's the Chinese artists who are the biggest stars.
千千阙歌主唱陳慧嫻。來日縱使千千阙歌，飄於遠方我路上。來日縱使千千晚星，亮過今晚月亮，都比不起這宵美麗，亦絕不可使我更欣賞。因你今晚共我唱。 尋覓覓這一生，因你尋尋覓覓這緣分，只等斜陽別讓我分心，好嗎？斜陽浪漫可惜放任，依然相信將來你終可清楚眼內在講什麼。
Some hooligan broke my restaurant window last night. Again. They burned my instructional signal with aerial deep. Tried to break up the sledgehammer and didn't work. Maybe let's do something else with their lives other than ruining people's business. It only cost me $50. Hygiene is key in a restaurant. I wish they clean the restaurant so they put me free. You can get our hair with something great.
Chinese Revolution happened. At best I only had like grade 2 Chinese comprehension, so I couldn't exactly read Chinese. I would have to ask my friends to read newspapers for me. So music for me was very important. For example, I have a lot of cassettes here. I think my favorite is actually Chinese opera. And a lot of pop songs back in the 70s and 80s. I used to collect a lot of those. Occasionally, I'll just listen to music from my cassette, and I would write to my girlfriend, which I absolutely abandoned in Hong Kong. Long story short, she asked me to meet her parents. It's in some faraway place, and I was like, no, that's not worth the effort. I'd rather move to Canada, where I'll actually make money and find a better life. During the 73 market crash, I moved to Canada with my 2 other friends to open a business called Top of the Mandarin. It's at Kiefer in Mandarin Street. It was a good few years, but I didn't make a lot of money. I only got like at best like a 20% share, and I was the main chef. What was that about? I gave them an ultimatum, but ultimately they didn't accept, so I opened my new restaurant, Gamewa. I tried to get a loan in HSBC, and they didn't give it to me. What was that about? I'm a loyal customer of theirs. How dare they? You know I had a lot of experience with opening a restaurant, right? I guess they didn't believe me. I went to Van City and gave me a loan right away. And then when I opened Gamewa in 1981, I got a lot of customers. Mainly because I never skipped on quality. And my restaurant was spotless. I always made sure to renovate it myself. I never renovate and ask other people to help me, unless I just wanted to renovate it for the first time. So for example, back when something broke down. I accidentally caught my finger in the mixer, the meat mixer, and I got a bit of it cut off. It was a long hospital ride, but in the end, my finger's still at least partly there. So that's good news. So, when my friend opened your bookstore, he also wrote these newspapers as well, but Chinese Times. I couldn't read those. I bought a box full of books. Of course, they were picture books. I couldn't read, right? And when I tried to check the price, it was $350 for like a set of like 8 books. That was expensive at the time, but you know, it was my friend, so I had to buy it. Speaking of that friend, he was annoying as hell. I had the top floor of my restaurant open to some friends so they could play mahjong and smoke. But he always kept spewing so much smoke with them. It's one at a time. I'm not running a huge charity here. It's just a place for a few friends to hang out. Besides, a lot of police were around and they didn't want us to open a huge place, right? So I must get hide on the top floor. Anyway, speaking of which, this outfit, right? I don't wear it very often because it was so expensive. And I run a restaurant, so if it gets messy, then it's kind of hard to wash off with all that grease. So this is like for a special occasion, which I guess right now is a special occasion. When I hang out with my friends, sometimes I find it annoying. I just don't like talking to people that much, right? I'd rather be making money. I made so much money, I could buy 5 houses. I got Wolf a huge pool, and the people who were using that pool, you didn't clean up after themselves, so every time it broke, I had to renovate it. There was one time where someone tried to break a vault in a restaurant. They smashed our window, our storefront window, and then they got in. And then they started using a sledgehammer to break our vault. Of course it didn't work. And then they did it the second time. They tried to burn the vault. But they knew they couldn't smash it with a sledgehammer. Why would they think burning it would work? That was such a waste of money. I had to ask my friend Frank to help me with the damages. And speaking of Frank, he helped me a lot back then. Back when people made fun of us on the streets, throwing rocks and even stealing a lady's purse, he was the one that always asked for help because he was born in Canada and he could also speak English and Chinese. He's also the one who taught me how to drive. He used to drive somebody from mainland China when he comes visit, and he would be the one that chaperones him. He taught me how to double foot drive. I don't know if that's legal now, but when I took my driver's test, it was near Stanley Park, which is totally not where I was expecting them to test me. So then by the time I was done, the person initiating the test was like, "Oh yeah, you're done." And I was like, "Wait, what?" That was so quick. I guess it was because it was almost the end of his shift, because it was late. But then when I was at Stanley Park, I was like, "What the hell am I supposed to do here? This is not where I live." Now I have to find a way back. There's no like GPS or anything. Well, actually, maybe there was. I was able to afford it. Not everyone can afford something like that. But yeah, that was an interest. That was a good experience. I hope the rest of my children will be good at driving. Speaking of which, my youngest son, he's crazy. He loved to street race and he got into an accident. The police said if they didn't intervene, he would have hit a truck. And so much money had to be paid. It's insane. But he was also the one who helped me repair my van that was first of its kind. It also had like 4-wheel drive, and then back when we were on a fishing trip, right? There's like a huge mountain, and we had to pass through, and we had the coolers at the back. When we drove uphill too fast, the coolers got out and broke the rear view window. Isn't that insane? And then we had to go to an auto shop to repair the window, and you know what they were like? $2,000. replacement glass. And then I took out the glass shards, and then I filled it in with fiberglass filler, and it worked just as well. That was only $50. This is why I always do DIY. If I can hire somebody to fix it for me once, I watch them fix it for me, and then I'll learn from them. It saves me so much more money. But, well, I guess that one incident when I broke my leg from a ladder didn't really help. So what happened was, I tried to repair a house. It was one of my houses that I rent, so I was climbing a ladder with flip-flops, by the way. And on the side there was like a hammer, and I was climbing it. I fell off, the hammer fell down as well, and then it hit my leg. And I couldn't use it very well. Well, technically, I would have recovered from that. But the problem is, I already booked like a vacation with my wife, and I couldn't cancel it. And it was one of those vacations where you have to wake up 5 a.m. in the morning, and then you would walk around with other people, other tourists. There was like a tour guide, and I couldn't cancel it because it was in 2 weeks. So then it made my leg worse. So I decided, well, you know what I'm gonna do with my time? I'm just gonna close my restaurant, and then I'll just live off of my money, right? And maybe spend some time with the kids, because like I didn't spend time with any of my kids during those 8 years I was working. Because I would have to wake up at 3 a.m., I would have to prepare all the food, like the meat. I specialize in meat, by the way. So I'd ask the other people to wrap the dumplings for me and make the noodles, etc., etc. And I would have to like eat there's these packets of caffeine that can come from Hong Kong, and then you just put the package and you put it in, and you drink some water, and that's like 4 coffees. 4 coffees from caffeine, isn't that great? So I'd be able to stay up all day and only need 2 hours of sleep. So, and you know, I didn't get 4 hours of sleep, but I really wanted to go fishing. Because back when I was a kid, in order to survive, I would have to catch fish in the ocean with a few of my buddies. Because back then food was scarce. I even heard there was a cannibal in our village. And back when kids starved on the streets, we would actually take the kids and cook them up. I don't know if that's true or not. It probably was. Yeah. So instead of doing that, we caught fish. I would catch them with my mouth. I was that good at swimming back then. And my friends would be on the shore, and they would catch the fish for me. So I would catch the fish with my mouth, throw it up into the shore, and they would catch it up, and then we'll split the fish. And that's how we survived. But I heard this sports fishing in BC was good, so I decided to buy a huge boat and go fishing with the remainder of my time before I opened the restaurant. I caught a lot of good fish. There's people in UBC that asked me how to fish because they couldn't catch the halibut in the area, but probably because their boat was too small. You should have invested in a bigger boat, right? So sometimes we would do a trade. They give me their springs and I'll give them the halibut. It's a good trade. And then after that, they gave me a bottle of whiskey at the fence, but I don't drink. I can barely stand alcohol. I guess I'll give it to my wife then. Right? Speaking of which, my son, I let him drive the boat, but he went so fast. He's only like 14. Oh yeah, if it's legal, is it legal? No, I don't think so. Speaking of legality, there was a time when someone stole our crab trap, and then when we tried to tell the fisheries, they didn't believe us, and then somebody else accused us of stealing theirs. So then what happened? I had to call my friend Frank, and the moment they picked up the phone, they immediately apologized to us. It's great to have good friends that have very powerful positions. I guess I gotta pay them more later. Speaking of which, I have an accountant. I pay 30% of what I get to them. handles all my expenses. Because, you know, I didn't take that much education, right? So it's better if I get all my expenses, my taxes, stuff correctly. I paid a lot of taxes to the government. Sucks to be a business owner. When it comes to music, I usually like to listen to female vocals, right? So when I go fishing, I would have like a cassette player that's tapped into a music player attached to the boat, and then I would listen to music and would just speed off to our fishing destination. I usually go to like a Banff? Yeah, some random place, Banff. And we would catch fish there. And it's like go really early in the morning. Sometimes we even camp. And you know what they were like? $2,000. That's insane. I'm not paid. My favorite is actually Chinese opera. And a lot of pop songs back in the 70s and 80s. I used to collect a lot of those. Occasionally.
Do you want to say something after the show? How was it? There's no sound.
Chinese people work so hard for this radio.
Can go.
Yeah, you can. It's recording.
I feel like maybe this is a stage.
I think so.
陈述的中国共党总治大陆，李登辉，请必须承认。
I remember being able to read. That's great. But then I couldn't.
Maybe you should do your own show. You should give us a performance.
I performed enough already for all of it.
Oh.
I'm gonna continue editing the stuff.